Welcome to Animorphs Anonymous, the podcast where we casually discuss the Animorphs one book at a time.
I'm Kaycie.
And I'm Alex.
And we're going to talk you through the plot of each book.
But more accurately, take you on tangent trips, factoid forays, and say, well, actually, as much as possible.
Join us on the 1st and the 15th of each month, and we'll take you along on our mission.
And we promise to have you back under the 2-hour time limit.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have a grave announcement to make. Incredible as it may seem, both the observations of science and the evidence of our eyes lead to the inescapable assumption that those strange beings who landed in the Jersey farmlands tonight are the vanguard of an invading army.
My cat's in the room now.
Oh, I was going to say, what were you going to say, Kaycie?
No, I was just going to say, if you hear any... Don't shake the desk, please. Oh my god. See, Myisha, I told you there were interruptions abound. Don't rub your face on the microphone, please. Oh my god, you need to leave. Oh my god. Okay, sit on my lap.
This is exactly how in book 2, I think. Yes, this is exactly how in book 2 the Animorphs got into the basement by pretending to be cats.
Cats. Fluffer McKitty.
We just want to bring that realism, that Fluffer McKitty realism to every episode.
I love it. What was Tobias's cat's name? Dude. Or something?
Yeah, Dude.
Such a teenage boy name for a cat.
I know.
It's really good, though.
I wish Homer would come
And then
back.
Jake's... Yeah, Homer. Oh, Homer...
Yes.
Well, I didn't say anything.
Oh. Did you almost spoil something?
Not really.
Okay.
I mean, like, as a casual mention, yes, I almost spoiled something,
Okay.
but, like, not in any meaningful way would I have spoiled anything for you.
Okay. Anyway. Sorry for my cat interrupting. Your eye.
A-okay. So, Visser 1 is completely thrilled with her new host. She's, like, comparing it to living in a sensory deprivation tank, aka a tiny yerk pool, and then getting into, like, a whole new host body. It's amazing. Allison was fighting her for control, and it was just exhilarating every moment. So Visser 1 starts testing Allison in various ways, but the biggest experiment came when one time she gave her control of the left eye alone, and Allison realized she could move this one part of the body, but tried to hide it from Visser 1. And then when they were on the highway one time behind a truck with a burned-out taillight, Allison forced that eye closed, and Visser 1's depth perception went totally awry, and they missed a collision by millimeters. And it startled Visser 1 because she's like, humans always said they would kill themselves before being controlled and enslaved, but now there's, like, proof that they would actually do it. This is a point where Visser 3 is like, your love for humans was evident here, and that's betrayal! And Visser 1's like, of course I admire humans. I took over this planet to enslave them, and that's why I took all this time to assess them, because they're great. I love humans. We're gonna take over them all. And then Visser 3 starts this pedantic speech like, humans are so inferior. We should have taken them over by force, which is what he wants to do. This is the part where he reveals his plan. And he's like, we're just gonna, like, burn down the world and, like, shoot them from outer space and just take them by force. And Visser 1's like, there are 5 billion with a B of them. Which, by the way, now there's, like, 7 billion.
That's crazy.
I know.
We got 2 billion in 20 years.
In 20... Oh, man.
So many.
That's
People
upsetting.
need to die faster.
Oh my god.
Come on.
Damn.
Well, technically, there's a popular portion of us who are having less kids. So
Yeah,
I mean,
that's true. I'm
Yeah.
trying to help.
Me too.
Same.
So, Visser 1's arguing that, like, with 5 billion of them, they could miss almost 100% of the time with their primitive guns, which, by the way, are perfectly good for killing a hork-bajir. She mentions a Taxon could be killed with a can opener. And she's like, if they miss almost 100% of the time, they will wipe out all of our forces very quickly. We don't have that many things going on for us right now. And then Visser 1's like talking about humans and war and does this amazing speech that I actually bookmarked, so I'm gonna like read this portion of her argument here. So Visser 1 calls Visser 3 an ignorant fool. Humans have fought thousands of wars. Thousands. We as a race have fought a mere handful. They run straight into the bullets, Visser 3, again and again. Did you know that? They attack against insane odds. They defend what can't be defended. Outnumbered, outgunned, surrounded, hopeless. They will still fight, till they are each and every one dead. Something you might know if you stop posturing long enough to learn something. Damn!
Phew.
And part of the reason I bookmarked this was because it was almost a line in Hamilton. You know?
Which one?
The outgunned, outmanned.
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
So I was like, holy shit, that's really epic. But, because, you know, everyone loves Hamilton. Everybody's like, yay, Hamilton. And in this part, Visser 1's like, no, Hamilton! We don't want you! So yeah, it was just a really, like, cool speech where she's like, dude, you don't understand your enemy at all. What is wrong with you? And because her point was so good, Visser 3 is like, well, I'm just going to go ahead and demand an active memory dump to prove for sure that in the 2 years that you didn't report back to the Yeerk Council, you didn't fuck around and you did what you said you did. And Visser 1 is like, no, I'm not going to have Visser 3 poking around inside my head. This is not acceptable. He cannot. No, we're not doing this. And then Garoff, the mouthpiece of the council, steps in and he is like, I will be the one to look through your mind. And Ava's been mocking Visser 1 up until this point, until Visser 1 points out, like, hey, man, this is really funny for you until you realize I know about Marco, and so your son's gonna die. And then Ava's like, oh, no, this is bad. And Garrett goes, I will only be looking at the time period in question. All secondary crimes will be ignored. And Visser 1's like, fuck, we have to do this. Whew. So, yeah. We do a live dump, which is really intense. So Visser 1 gets all hooked into this rig. Garoff is going to look through her head. Visser 1's memories start to flow. The first one starts 6 weeks after she had taken Allison as a host. They're driving around stuck in LA traffic, of course. And they're just talking about science. Like cool science shit. Literally that's it, like string theory. And they're like, the Andalite call it something like, I don't know, round theory or something like that. And they're like, tell me more about string theory. This is amazing. That's not important. What they're talking about is unimportant. What is important is Visser 1 admits that she did not have to have these conversations with Allison. She could have just searched her memories and pulled out whatever she knew and not had these back and forth moments. But she really enjoyed their conversations. And both of them shared this desire to learn. So they would share information willingly, which was very interesting for a Yeerk. And then it cuts to, like, they didn't see Hildy a ton because he was at work and he really seemed to enjoy his job. And then Garoff appears in her passenger seat and, like, he's like, what the fuck is going on here? And Visser 1's like, I'm trying to learn how to infest humans. It's nothing weird.
This is all research.
This is all research. This is all cool. This is above board. It's all fine. And then Garoff's like, go ahead 6 weeks. And she's like, motherfucker. So it cuts to a playing volleyball scene and she's like, oh fuck. So they're watching, like, tripping on shit, doing this volleyball shit. Hildy's cheering her on. I don't know volleyball things. They're just doing volleyball things.
Spike and the hit.
The spikes, the bounces, the ones where you put the hands together and do the, like, pop it over the fence. I don't know.
I've seen the beginning of Daria. This all sounds correct.
Well, at some point, she starts to trip. She's like, I don't know, there's sand or something. I don't know. But falls right onto Hildy. And they end up in a weird cliched moment of staring into each other's eyes lovingly. And Garrett's like, what about this? Is this too much? And she's like, nope, still learning, still doing science. And then he's
this is fine.
This is fine. He's like, cut forward 6 months. They're having lobster and crab dinner and, like, sensually feeding it to each other while their hands drip with butter. And Garrett's like, what about this? What about this moment? She's like, I don't know. And then Garoff is like, okay, let's go ahead, like, another, like, few weeks or whatever. And it cuts to Visser 1 getting the news that Allison is pregnant with twins, a boy and a girl. And finally Visser 1's like, okay, I liked the humans, I guess.
Fine, you caught me.
Yeah. It only took this much for her to finally admit it.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh man, that lobster scene was
great.
extremely uncomfortable to read. So, she admits, like, yeah, I may have been, like, turned by humans a little, like, kind of like, it's fine. And she's like, Allison was cool. Like, she was just so alive, man. Like, you don't understand. She was so alive. And Gareth is like, you're basically just Jenny in this situation. You're a junkie. And she's like, no, I swear.
Whoa!
I was like, God dang.
Flexed on her.
You're addicted to humans. And I was like, well, I mean, he wasn't wrong.
So, was that technically a polyamorous relationship, what they had?
Gonna say yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Yeerks love each other. The humans love each other. They all love each other. Like, there's multiple points later in the book where, like, the Yeerks totally let the hosts go do their own thing, and they, like, return to it. So, like, they all love each other.
Mm-hmm.
Aww.
That's why I was like, I wonder if it could have worked out if, circumstances were slightly different.
Like,
Hard to
if
say.
Visser 1 didn't blow up their core relationship.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Yeah. They could have had a really cute, like, weird life together.
Mm-hmm.
Would have been awesome. I would have read the same book if from here on out it had just been happy vacation times with the four of them and their children.
Right?
Imagine me and you. I do. Anyway.
I can't think of nothing but the chorus of that song now.
Sorry. It's not a really good song for a four-person relationship, but whatever.
Yeah, that is true. The I can't see me loving nobody but you. Well, nobody but you could be nobody but you. All three
y'all.
of you.
Plural.
Nobody but
nobody
y'all.
but y'all.
Y'all.
For the rest of my life. Oh, jeez.
Loving nobody but y'all. For all my life. Well, mostly yours. Until you die and I get a new host body.
When I see you, baby, the sky is such roiling, darkening clouds with thunder for all my life.
Stop. I'm Justin. Okay.
So we travel ahead to the memory of Allison giving birth. Visser 1 and Allison are together in delivering their children. They're sweaty and gross and everything that happens after you birth a baby. And SM/Hildy is next to them, holding their hand the whole time.
Cute.
It was cute, okay? And then Visser 1 has this memory of through Allison's eyes looking down at their kids' faces. And their son was still sleeping. He seems a little bit slower somehow. And the daughter had already opened her eyes and was looking at them. And as Visser 1 puts it, forming her first memories of them as mom. And they're like, what the fuck have we just done? And Gareth is watching this as they're falling in love with their kids. And then the four of them, Hildy, Allison, Essam, and Idris, they make this pact that no matter what, they're going to take care of these kids and protect these kids. And that's when Ava chimes in. And for the first time, she's very sympathetic. And she just said, I didn't know. You never let me see this. You loved them. And Gareth is sitting there waiting for an explanation. And all Visser 1 can get out at this time is that humans are really complex. Like, we're used to the Geds, and they're basic, and they can't resist us. The Taxons, they're just beasts. We can't even control them. Like, hork-bajir, they're simple. Like, they don't pose a challenge, but humans, they're impossible to dismiss as sub-Yeerk. And Gareth just says, I've seen everything I need to see here, and then terminated the protocol. And Visser 1 goes, I am dying now. This is it. This is the end. I'm going to be convicted. Visser 3 is going to start this torture and then burn down the earth. And the humans are just going to fight and lose until there's none of them left. They're all going to be eliminated simply because the Yeerks can't stand to look like fools. And Visser 3 is a fucking idiot. So, Visser 1 waited for Eva to start gloating, but it never came. She didn't say anything like, haha, you lost or whatever. And then Gareth says, okay, let's proceed with the trial, which catches Visser 1 completely off guard. And then Ava goes, there's something else happening here. This guy doesn't want Visser 3 to be correct. There's a way out of this. And then Ava adds, you need my son. Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
Big reveal.
Dun dun. Like, you knew it. Well, I felt like it had to happen. Like, you can't have an entire book with Marco's mom and not at some point have Marco. But even still like,
Bring back the kids.
Bring back.
At this point, I was just wondering, like, who her children were, if they were, like, any major players that we had already met. Or if they were just a couple of kids somewhere.
Did you think they were going to be?
Yeah, I thought they were going to be important or somebody we already knew.
And were you disappointed?
Yes.
Yeah, I was trying to think of how old they would be, and I was like, they're probably still youngish. Yeah. But I had that same thought, I think, when I first read it.
Yeah, I definitely had that same thought. Even now reading it, I was like, are they major players? And I just, like, forgot this book entirely? Like, but I didn't.
They were merely tools in her journey about being confused as a human.
Yeah. There's a lot of tools in this book. Visser 3.
Ooh, one of my favorite Visser 3 moments is coming up.
Okay, call it out when we get there.
Okay.
So, Visser 3 immediately jumps down Visser 1's throat. He's like, I demand to know where the children are. And Visser 1 just starts, like, stammering, like, And Ava's like, tell me where the kids are. I need to know. I'll help you, but you need to tell me, and fast. And Visser 1's like, yeah, they're alive, but I can't tell the council that they're alive. I have to tell them that they're dead because they can't go after my children. And Ava's like, no. Visser 3 probably has your kids. That's what's going on here. It's a trap. Tell the truth. And Visser 1 says to the council, they're alive. I gave them into the care of other humans and I cut contact. And sure enough, Visser 3 like slumps down. He totally has her kids right now. So they're like, okay, let's continue with this trial. This has gone buck wild. And Visser 1 goes, well, we could, but my host body needs to take a break. And Visser 3's like, we don't need a break. We need answers. But
this is the moment he keeps screaming, she doesn't need food, blah, blah, blah. She doesn't need food. She doesn't need food. And I'm just like, you sound fucking insane right now.
Seriously. You, one, gave her more or less inedible food, and she only drank water, so she does need food. And two, you look crazy, so you're not helping your argument.
I know. He's just like throwing this temper tantrum.
yes.
Oh,
I think this is the
dying.
point where he like slams his tail blade into a wall because he's so angry.
Yeah. He pulls like a Kylo Ren and just starts like laying waste to his surroundings.
Oh my god, that's the perfect analogy. That's the perfect comparison.
I just realized why I like Kylo Ren so much. Oh.
It's not because of Adam Driver.
It's a little bit because of Adam Driver, but it's like also Visser 3, which, by the way, could Adam Driver play Visser 3 in a reboot? No.
Yeah, well, I forget how they describe Visser 3's human morph, but probably
like,
not.
Imposing businessman kind of a guy, which is not Adam Driver.
Yeah.
Bummer.
Oh, God.
It's got that same
would be
energy, though.
great. Yeah, he can bring that crazy energy here. Oh, that's amazing. I love it. Visser 3 throws a little bit of a temper tantrum.
Just a bit.
Yeah, but Garoff brings us back to reality. He's like, hey, we could all use a break. The hork-bajir, they gotta go eat food too. We're taking an hour. A full hour.
Thank you for that Craig reference.
You're welcome. Visser 1's like, fine. Like, or she's like, we'll go and do whatever. So she's escorted to the Yerkpool cafeteria where she's served a very good meal. Like an excellent meal.
Right? I was like, this is... Alright, they're eating pretty good here.
They're eating great. This is what people pay food services to help them, like, bulk up and lose weight. And they are getting it for free. Mm-hmm. All you have to do is be infested. In fact, if you sold that... Okay, this is how I would run the sharing today. Diet and weight loss program / bodybuilding. Think about how many people have already signed up for classes because they're like, you don't need to put in any effort. You just show up and we like encourage you and we love you and we're all together. So that's the sharing premise. We're a family. We love you. We're all together. Also, you can lose weight with little effort on your part because you're enslaved, but they don't put that last part.
No.
It's just the first part.
You can get totally in shape and you won't have to lift a single finger because you cannot.
Exactly. You're going to get
Physically
ripped,
cannot.
and you don't have to do anything.
And you won't ever again.
You won't ever again. All your meals are paid for. It's free. Best part. It's all free. Your meals, free. All it costs is your entire life. That's nothing.
Hooray.
And that's fine.
That's totally fair.
That's right. Still go to work, still do everything, but you get ripped.
Nice.
Now that's how we get the Yerk program to work in 2019.
There we go.
Oh, Jesus. Why do I say these things? So, also their meal includes broccoli, which was a really nice shout out to the Megamorphs
Nice.
too in the Time of the Dinosaurs.
Yay.
Literally, anytime they mention broccoli in these books, I'm like,
Just start giggling.
Megamorphs.
Oh.
Oh my god, it's just a good thing to eat. It has nothing to do with that. Shut up. So, everybody falls silent in this cafeteria as soon as they see Visser 1 walking in. They're like, we don't want to talk to her, but we don't want to get up. Because if she goes back to the rank of Visser 1 and she's cool, she's going to be mad about that. But also, what if she's wrong? We don't want to feel chummy with her. So, like, they're all like, just sit quietly and robotically eat your meals. It's fine. So, the whole cafeteria is silent until a cell phone starts ringing. And the woman, like, gets up. She's like, I'm sorry, it's for my job. And Visser 3's like, then answer it! So she does. And Visser 1's like, oh, there's an opportunity here. So the woman's, like, presumably on the phone with her boss. She's like, yeah, I'm on the way. I'm running late 'cause of traffic, and starts to leave. At the same time, Visser 1 goes, I'm done, and stands up and uses her horrifically broken body to walk towards this woman and then trip and land on top of her. And she grabs the phone with a hand so mangled she wasn't sure she'd be able to grab the phone. And then Visser 1's like, you fucking idiot, because she's like, I'm a Visser, I have to play the part. Like, how could you, stupid woman, walk in front of me and make me trip on you? How dare you? And then the hork-bajir grabs her shoulder and stands her up. And the pain was insanely jolting, but she had the phone in hand. And that was the most important part.
I feel like this was supposed to be really sneaky and flawlessly done, sleight of hand, but just the way I read the description, I was like, this is so obvious.
Yeah.
She was just like falling on her.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Especially because everybody would have been watching them.
Yeah. But,
Whatevs.
Maybe she has secret magician powers or something that just weren't mentioned.
She rolled a 20.
dexterity or sleight of hand, yeah.
Dexterity, yeah.
That's better than what I was going to say, which was that she was a magician, but it didn't say so in the book because a magician can never reveal their secrets.
Oh!
So, anyway, she gets the phone. That's the important part. And this is where we cut to the end of the proposal, the book we just read.
Oh.
So Visser 1 calls Marco. It goes to voicemail. And we hear the conversation that we heard Marco's side of in the last book, where Visser 1's like, Marco, pick up the phone. And he does, like, instantly. Like, he must have jumped off that couch. And,
Right?
Like,
Oh my gosh.
oh, it's crazy. Also, if you pick up when it's recording a voicemail, does it keep recording?
I don't know. No?
I don't think so.
I want to say no. I feel like it cuts off.
I don't think so.
I want to say no as well.
Yeah, from what I remember of actually talking on a landline with people, I didn't do that.
Oh, God. Anyways, yeah. So Visser 1 calls Marco, and he picks up, like, instantly. And Visser 1's like, do you know who this is? And Marco's like, yeah. And Visser 1's like, it's your mother. And Marco's like, no, this is a Yerk. Because safety.
Oh.
Teen safety.
Marco.
Oh.
It's like, I don't talk to strangers. Visser 1's then like, I need you and your friends to help me. And this isn't a trap. And Marco's like, of course this isn't a trap, because there's a personal vendetta between you and Visser 3, and you would not have set up a trap only to get us and to help Visser 3. You just want to hurt him. So obviously you can't call us in without, helping him. So this is a total thing. And Visser 1's like, I'm extremely impressed with this entire thing that Marco thought of with minimal information.
Oh.
Yep.
And so then Visser 1, what she actually says, instead of I'm impressed with all of this shit that you came up with, she's like, I thought you were too soft as a child. And Marco's like, yep, things change. Where is this? And Visser 1's like, the Yerk pool. And Marco's like, nope, too dangerous. Goodbye. And Visser 1's like, I'm astounded he can write off his own mother that way. And then she's like, there's a food truck delivery for the Taxons later today. It's this very evening. In about an hour and a half, there will be a shipment. And Marco's like, okay, where's the opening nowadays? Because maybe I forgot. And Visser One's like, tells him where it is. And as this is going, like where the very end of the conversation where Marco's kind of stringing her along, the whole time Visser 3 is pounding on the bathroom door like, finish now or else I'll drag you out of there, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, God.
And then Marco talks directly to his mom. And this was another place that I bookmarked, and I swear the last one I bookmarked, because it was such, like, I could not write out the notes for this without just straight reading it. So,
yeah.
Sorry, guys, you get to deal with my bad voice acting once again.
No,
do it. Love it. I bookmarked the same point.
Awesome. We did it. So, Visser 1 tells him where it is, and then she says, you'll do it? And he didn't answer. Instead, he said, Mom, I know you can hear me. I don't know if I can save you. You understand that, right? I'll do what's right. I'll do what I have to do. It was his only show of emotion. His voice cracked when he said, Mom. I know you will. I love you, Ava said silently, a prisoner inside of her own skull. Marco, your mother loves you, I said. But if I'd been expecting him to soften, I got the opposite result. I know my mother loves me, Visser, he said. And let me make one thing clear. There is no deal between us, you and me, Yerk. I'll kill you for what you've done to her and my dad. Count on that. He hung up. The door burst in as I slammed the cell phone into the toilet bowl and flushed. Preposterous, a scrawny teenager threatening me. I was a prisoner of Visser 3, already all but condemned to a death by torture and starvation. Did the child think he could frighten me? It was laughable. And yet you're not laughing, are you, Yerk?
Damn.
Oh, that part's so good. That part,
It's
like,
so
basically
good.
encapsulates all that I love about Marco as a character. That, like, he's, like, completely and totally focused on his goal, on, like, not giving anything to this Yerk at all, showing his hand. But then for this one brief period of moment, he's just like, I love you, Mom. And then immediately it's just like, my mom knows, like, I know that my mom loves me. I don't need you to get into this. Like, I don't need your reinforcements or support or whatever else. Anyway, Marco! Sorry.
No.
He's so good.
He is.
I love Marco. I do love Marco as a character. I mean, I love them all. But I do love Marco as a character, and I agree with you. These are the moments that really solidify why he's such an amazing character. Mm-hmm. It's not when he's making terrible jokes about twins and stuff. It's this.
Yeah, less than. More these.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ugh. God, so good. Oh.
It is so good.
You guys are very articulate, and I'm just like,
I mean, that's also a lot of what I was doing. There was a part in the very beginning, which you actually, I think, read or touched on, which is like, there's someone who's like, I thought you were a soft, like, blah, 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 you know, weak boy. Like, yeah, well, things change. Like, yeah, you killing, quote unquote, his mom. Did you think that would have no effect on him?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like, you absolutely, totally underestimated him.
You created your own enemy.
Yeah!
Like, whoops.
Yeah. On top of that, like, that whole scene, the fact that Marco can still break and say, I love you, Mom, and then in the same breath or the next breath say, I'll kill you, though.
Yeah.
If I have to. Like, that's crazy. Like, that's so cool.
I love you, but I'll kill you.
If I gots to do it, I gots to do it.
Oh.
Marco to a T.
Yeah. Yeah, he's awesome.
Hate it.
Hate it, love it, and hate it.
Yep.
You both love and hate to see it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it just makes it so compelling. I can't not. Okay, so after this epic scene, which feels like an ending in and of itself, we have a third of a book left to go.
Right?
It's a marathon, not a sprint. So the visitors return to the trial room and wait. And they wait. And they wait. And they wait a little more. And finally, Visser 1's like, I cannot fucking stand this anymore. Then the hologram snaps into view with the Council of 13. And Garoff is basically like, what up? Visser 1, keep going. And Visser 1's like, oh, fuck. Okay. So she's like, well, our Kandrona ray was weakening. We only had the temporary one on the ship, and we realized we had about a year left, and so I contacted the Yerk Council, and I called up Visser 92 and said, hey, we have a Class 5 planet here, and that was basically it. I'm sitting on 5 billion potential hosts. And the best part of this was that Visser 92, when she said billion, sat up and cut himself on his own hork-bajir blades. Was like, what? You mean million, right? And she's like, billion. So later that night, Visser 1 goes home to Essam, who's taking care of their children, specifically changing poopy diapers.
Domesticity, I love it.
Yeah. And Essam was pissed. He was like, I thought we were going to discuss this together and decide what to do, not for you to just go off on your own and make a huge decision like that. And Visser 1 was like starting to get a little preachy, like, of course I went off on my own and did this. I love the High Council. Yerks are the best, blah, blah, blah. And Ava goes, hey, don't do that. Go with blunt and honest. They're not used to that, but do it. And Visser 1's like, oh, God, I'm such an idiot taking advice of a host. How pathetic is that? But she takes the advice anyways. And she had already started, like, the sharing in its infancy. But they were in Hollywood. And it is so saturated with cults that they're like, we gotta move. They're literally like, they have so much shit happening here. Charles Manson happened here. They got Scientology.
Like the market is too saturated. We need to move elsewhere.
Exactly. We've got to get away from this.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So they left Hollywood to a undisclosed location in the world near an ocean. And it was pretty easy for Allison to find a new job there. But Visser 1 was like, I think part of the thing that factored into the decision to call up the Yerk Council here was that she was being stretched really thin when she was starting the sharing, because she was with Allison, with the kids, doing that whole thing. She also took on another host and was like running back and forth between the two of them, trying to set this all up. So she was basically like, listen, it's time for the Yerk Empire to make a move. I've taken on too much. This is just what I got to do. So then Essam dropped the bomb on her at this point, like, after everything you just did and like going to the council and fucking with our family and, you know, betraying our hosts, he finds out that she means to kill Allison eventually, and then is just like, that's it, I'm fucking out. I fed, I'll be good for 3 days, and I'm gonna go kill myself and die over doing this despicable mission. That was a real cool ending. You may have noticed it seems a little sparse of details. That's right. We will come back to that. Visser 1 relays how the rest of this happened to the council, how she was overtaken basically, and how Essam died and left and everything. Basically, she had a Draken beam. She went home, threatened Essam, and he was standing up with the kids. He's like, you won't shoot me, I have the kids. And so then he puts him down. She's like, put him on the floor. I'll kill you, though. And
put him on the floor?
Just put him on the floor, whatever.
God.
Step away. They're kids, they'll bounce, whatever.
Oh, no. Oh boy.
So Essam steps away and she's gonna shoot him, but at that moment Allison rises up and takes control for just a second, which is long enough to allow Essam to grab the Draken beam away from her and restrain her. He held Visser 1 captive for days until she was starving and then forced her out of Allison's body. And then Visser 1 was like, as she was like leaving Allison, like, what do you intend for me to do? Just leaving me hostless in this crazy tiny pool? And he eventually felt bad enough that he went and got her second host, who was the sharing dude, who they just kept locked up, I guess, in the basement.
Oh my god.
Yeah. They just literally keep this dude locked up most of the time.
Jeez.
Yeah. They put him in their restraints so that she could infest him after that she fed. And then Hildy, Essam, and Allison fled with their children. And throughout this entire narrative, Ava's kind of background asking more questions and like continually accusing her of having this love for her children. And Visser 1 doesn't deny it, but also doesn't want to admit it. And she's also trying to like spin it for the council. So she's not like, I love my children. I do anything for my children. She doesn't want them to like focus on the children aspect of this at all. Visser 3 then starts blustering and accusing her of caring for the children before launching into a rant about how her plan was ridiculous. They weren't spies or sneaks. This was the Yeerk Empire. They'd taken the Geds. They'd taken the hork-bajir. They had they not become allied with the Taxxon, they would have taken the Taxxons as well. There's no reason not to take humanity. Why are they sneaking around like this? Visser 1 notices his speech has this effect on the Council of 13. A bunch of them are sitting up straighter, their chins are jutting out, they're feeling pretty good. And so Visser 1 goes, "You sound like the Helmicrons."
Oh!
What a burn!
It was such a burn. It was so good.
Oh my god.
Unfortunately, our victory is short-lived here. Because Visser 3 doesn't care that they're laughing at him, which is the first hint that something is terribly wrong. Visser 3 is just like, well, I know a simple way to solve this. The only reason she proposed a slow filter infiltration was because she feared a war would destroy her children. So, you want to prove that that's not why you started the slow filter infiltration? Okay, here, shoot your kid. And he brings out her son and produces a gun with which to shoot him.
Whee!
Yeah.
What the
I mean,
fuck?
For as much as we, like, make fun of Visser 3, because he's ridiculous, like, sometimes he's like, oh, okay, you are kind of formidable, I guess.
Yeah.
He's evil, for sure.
He definitely gets results by being as cruel as possible, so there's that. So long as he doesn't just, like, bluster too long.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, if you can keep him from monologuing, then
Yeah.
it's a lot more intimidating. The gun was put into Visser 1's hand, and the child grabbed the muzzle and held it to his chest. That's about the time she realized her kid was a controller. By the way, her kid's name is Darwin, because they thought it was a funny joke, because he came from 4 parents.
What a bunch of nerds.
They were a bunch of nerds. Oh. They're like, this will be great. So, Darwin is holding the gun to his chest, and that's when Visser 1 realizes, okay, he's a controller, and she kind of takes a moment to think, like, wow, like, what the hell did Visser 3 do to convince this Yeerk to go into this kid's body knowing he was going to be shot and dying? Like, that's pretty risky.
Yeah.
So, she takes a moment to think about that. And because Visser 3 has told her to kill the child and she's kind of playing it off like she doesn't care about the children, she looks to Gareth, who's watching her, but, like, he's not going to step in. The only way out of this is to shoot the kid. And Eva's pleading with her. She's like, don't do this. You've chosen love over life once before. Do it again. And Visser 3 is playing on her hesitation and, like, starting to pedantically explain, like, in case you've forgotten how to fire a gun, you pull the trigger. And, like, Visser 1 starts playing it up at this point because she has seen something that nobody else has seen. She's like, you know what, Visser 3, you're a fool to think that I won't shoot this child. I only hope that you've put a hollow point bullet into this gun because I would hate to kill the hork-bajir behind the child. And, like, going on this really kind of gruesome rampage. But all of it was a distraction because behind Visser 3 there was a flea growing into an Andalite. And she wanted all the attention on her. It's your boy!
See, that's a good time to monologue.
That is a great time to monologue, yeah. Once again, Visser 1, much more competent, even at monologuing.
Of course.
Yeah. And my boy's back!
He's there!
He's here. He's here to save us all.
Yay!
Soon she doesn't even have to monologue anymore because the young Andalite finished morphing and takes out the hork-bajir. And then he goes after Visser 3 and engages in a fight. And then somebody gives the order, now! And a polar bear barrels into the room, a tiger barrels into the room, 2 more hork-bajir. It was an all-out brawl. The only thing that Visser 1 could focus on in this whole thing was her son Darwin, and he starts yelling, die, Andalite filth, but then just gets knocked out by the flat of Axe's tail blade, and Visser 1 breathes a sigh of relief. She's like, he's safe! And then a second later, a hork-bajir steps on his back, and she's like, well, that'll hurt, but he's still safe!
Get him out of there, Jesus!
No, she just leaves him.
Just leaves him on the floor.
She's like,
God.
he's fine there. It's all fine. So yeah, he's knocked out. It's all fine. She just left him there. It's all good. And then for good measure, she fires the gun at the polar bear. So that's cool.
Rude!
She's like, I don't even think he felt it. He didn't flinch. It's probably fine. Finally, the last thing we see is a gorilla knuckle walking into the room. And Visser 1 is like, my long lost son.
It's me, your boy.
my baby boy. And Marco's like, so is this like kind of what you wanted us to do? Is this kind of what you were thinking? And like Visser 1 nods imperceptibly. And then Marco's like, cool. Punches out a hork-bajir guard and then punches Visser 1 straight in the face.
Oh. Yikes. I like how he punches the hork-bajir without even looking at it. He's just like, boom.
Yeah, he's like, this kind of it.
Badass.
So good. He is so badass.
He is.
Okay, this next part is a little confusing-ish, so bear with me while I try to describe this scene. So Visser 1 wakes up in a tunnel. It is a Taxon tunnel in the Yerk pool underground. She blots at her nose, and she sees that the blood is just starting to clot, so she hasn't been knocked out that long. Then she realizes the Bandolites are all standing there with Marco as himself. So Visser 1 notices hork-bajir frantically running around the pool, and then she's like, but they can't see me even though I'm right here. So she's like, oh shit, we're hidden behind a really advanced hologram. And like starts suspiciously questioning the technology for a while, but the kids are like, don't fuck the technology. We're having a conversation right now. And Marco's like, would you please exit my mother's body? And Edris was like, no. So Marco's like, okay, Axe. And Axe puts his tail blade to her throat. And Visser 1 is like, there's no way you'll kill your own mother. And Ava's like, yeah, you pretty much will, though. And also, you're in a trap. Like, what are you going to do? Go back in there and tell everybody that the Andalite bandits are here and, like, give away my son? Because if he gets infested, they all know that you're a fucking betrayer, too. So, what the fuck? And Marco's basically like, seriously, like, get out of my mom, basically. If you really want to know if I'm serious, pull up the memory of what the New Hampshire license plates say, which this was a very weird flex that Marco took right here. He's like, me and my mom used to joke about this, but it seems kind of inevitable. And this is true. I Googled it. New Hampshire license plates say live free or die.
Yup.
They actually do.
Yes.
Okay.
I feel like I knew that, but I think maybe I also knew that because I read this book. So I don't remember why. I'm sure it has something to do with history. Oh, I have a phone. I can look it up. I don't know that it's that important.
I will not focus on anything
hard.
else. No, it's just live free or die.
Well, that's what the hork-bajir say, right? Free or die?
They say free or die, yeah.
Free or die,
die. Free or die.
I imagine that has something to do with the Emancipation of America from Britain rule.
I would assume so.
Revolutionary War.
Yeah.
Shit.
I thought you were just going to say Emancipation Proclamation.
That's a different war.
That is a different one, but that's what I thought you were going for, and I was like, what? Anyway.
Free or die.
They pull up this weird memory, and Marco's like, my mom and I used to joke about it. And then Visser 1's like talking to Eva, and she's like, he doesn't mean it. And he was like, yeah, he does. You have to let me talk to him. And then Marco starts the countdown from 10. He gets down to 1, and finally Visser 1's like, I'm leaving, I'm going. And like crawls out of the mom's ear. Yeah, it's kind of gross. And then she's just held helpless for a while, doesn't really know what's going on. And then against all of her hopes, or with all of her hopes, but against any hope that she had, Visser 1 is safely returned into Ava's head. And basically, while Visser 1's starting to search through Ava's recent memories, Jake just, like, casually slashes her arm open and acts like nicks her cheek open with his tail blade, and Marco's like, sorry, we had to make it look like you fought and you're injured more than you were when you got here. Yeah.
It's fine.
Eventually, Visser 1 is able to pull up the conversation that just happened, and Marco just immediately starts, like, pleading with his mom to come home because he and his dad need her. And Ava's like, Marco, I need you more than life itself, but Visser 1 is pushing for a non-violent invasion, and we cannot let Visser 3 seize control because he would destroy the world. He'd incinerate everything from orbit. And Marco starts saying, no, there must be a reason why she wants a non-violent invasion. And while Visser 1 dreams of the day she can torture Marco in the future, she does see in the memory that's happening that Ava tells him the greatest secret that Visser 1 has, which is that she has children. So now all of the Bandolites know. Dun-dun-dun.
Good.
At this point, Axe inserts himself into the conversation, saying, "You must be mistaken. Yerks reproduce by fission."
Well, actually...
That's not how Yerks do it. So Ava clarifies, human children from a former host that she still loves the children of. Ava then catches them up so today Visser 1's on trial. If she's found guilty, they're going to go with Visser 3's plan to destroy the Earth, and we don't want that to happen. And that's when Ava calls it the Tiger, says that they may want Visser 3 in charge. He makes stupid mistakes, and Ava's like, surely that's an Andalite. So the conversation continues with the hork-bajir, the morphed hork-bajir chiming in, which we can take a guess that this is Rachel and Tobias right here. I'll let you guess who is who.
Yeah.
Just by their fucking, like what they say,
yes.
You can easily tell who is who, and I love it.
I loved it too. But we'll let the audience guess who is who. One of them says, well, maybe we shouldn't let Visser 1 go because, what she could do is just come back and, kill Ava and take over Marco, and the secret would still be safe, and she would have a more capable host. And then the other hork-bajir replies, kill her now or kill her later. It's gonna happen.
Bless.
So good. I love it. The Tiger then says, your mom, your choice. And Visser 1 is like, wait a minute. Oh my god. They're all children. There's one Andalite, and the rest are just children. Oh my god. I want to go find Visser 3 right now and spit this in his face. This is amazing. Marco then has this moment with his mom where, it takes on a very sweet tone, and it gets kind of awkward because Marco starts telling his mom that, he loves her, and they finally get to hug. And he tries to tell her, listen, Dad, and Ava's like, it's fine. He needs to move on. It's totally fine. Aww. And Marco goes, we have allies, friends. We could get you out of here. We could hide you. Are you sure that we can't take you away from this right now? And Ava's like, we all have to fight the war in our own way, which was just heart-wrenching.
It's so much.
Ava's so good.
And Marco is being comforted by the polar bear at this point, which is Cassie.
Which is just
patting him.
Interesting that she went as a polar bear instead of a wolf.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder why.
Mm-hmm. Side note, those are some of my favorite weird side moments when it's just oh, this wolf nuzzled this tiger, and you're just love that. Love to see it.
Me too. It's much better than ripping the still beating heart out of a fish and declaring morphing is awesome or whatever.
Agreed.
Rachel. Oh my god.
Marco pulls it together, and we end this whole conversation on Marco threatening Visser 1. And he's like, here's the deal. If we think for a single second that you have retaken control of the forces on Earth, we will take this conversation, which, by the way, we just recorded all of this, so we know you're a traitor, we know the whole plan, blah, 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 and we're going to shoot it to Visser 3. No, not just Visser 3. Right to the Council. We're taking this to the Council of 13. And if you don't think that we'll do that, and if you don't think we know how to reach the Council, well, you better reassess, because we have friends in the Yerk forces. So just get that shit together.
Woo. Loved it.
Basically, at this moment, I was like, this is where they, again, flip the Monopoly board over. Another Animorphs moment.
Yes.
And then the memory shows Marco giving Visser 1 back to Ava.
Giving Visser 1 the finger.
As he walked away, 2 fingers walking backwards. So Ava's body is unconscious. Axe knocked her the fuck out and left her in the tunnel.
Oh.
And Visser 1's in this weird state of she is still aware, but she can't get the host body to do anything. Whatever. She's basically just I just hope I'm found by anything but a Taxon. A Taxon would be very bad. And then Visser 1 starts going back into her own memories and how did the sharing start? And we get this backstory of she used her computer skills to hack bank accounts and steal tons of money. And once she had her seed money for the sharing, she rented out a hall and hired actors and started basically just promoting herself to people. And as this dude that everybody wanted to like, named Lord David Altman, who was a handsome real estate agent with an abundance of head hair. And she eventually got this group of people that came to her meeting. It was initially just 35 people, and it was all people who wanted to belong and to feel like they had a family. And she started saying the real human weakness is that they just want to belong. And so she started saying all of this rhetoric to them, and she doesn't even recall the exact words she used, but it was just a bunch of empty promises and words about family and love and blah, blah, blah. And she had fancy flags and booklets with glossy pamphlet pictures and actors paying attention to each individual person. And the whole reason she did this was because she needed to prove that they could get voluntary hosts. So she becomes a cult leader.
As you do.
She studied cult leaders. I guess as you do. I've never done it. But she literally studied cult leaders and just did what cult leaders do. By the second meeting, she had already doubled the amount of attendance, and then she started spewing out this, there's an inner circle, so everybody here is good, but if you want to be gooder, you got to be in the inner circle. That's where the goodest members are. She just needs to prove to SM that, she can get a host, whatever. So this is another point where Visser 1 points out that SM had never actually been in, a weak host body with that vulnerability so exposed, and Visser 1 had already been in, the soldier and in Jenny, who had that weakness, really out in the open. This is where we find out Visser 1 lied to the council about what happened with SM. They worked together on the sharing for a few weeks at this point. They were getting people there en masse. And SM was like, I don't think humans will be so easily fooled. This is crazy. You're never going to get somebody who wants to be a voluntary host. And then there's this dude that came up to Lore being like, please let me be part of your inner circle. And Lore's dismissive, why would you want to be part of the inner circle? Why is this so important to you? And this dude was like, I just want to belong. I just want to be a part of something special. Please let me into your inner circle. It means so much to me. And so finally, Visser 1, Lore, was like, all right, and pulled out a jar with SM in it. And he was like, see this? And the guy kind of recoils like, oh, gross. And Visser 1's like, well, if you want to be part of the inner circle, this has to crawl into your ear and take over your brain. And the guy's like, well, will it hurt? And Lore's like, nope. And so they're like, cool. And so SM gets
low bar.
He's just literally like, all right, I guess. So SM goes into this guy's head, and the first words out of his mouth are like, all right, you win. There's voluntary hosts now, I guess. So the real point of no return was not this moment. It was a moment weeks later when Edris was like, okay, I have to actually kill Allison. I don't need her anymore. She has to go. And I just have to be Lore full time to run this whole sharing deal. And SM's like, wait, what are you doing? You're gonna kill Allison? And Visser 1's like, yeah, and destroy the body. And then we'll kill Hildy, and we can pick another host, and we'll just adopt the children. It'll all work out. Don't even worry about it. SM's like, he replied, yes, Sub-Visser, and Edris, missed this whole interaction. She was so caught up in everything. She's like, not Sub-Visser, it'll soon be just Visser, and, I'm going to be the best, and I'm going to take over, and blah, blah, blah. And she missed all of the warning signs that SM was not on board with this plan.
Oof, yeah.
And then we get to the point a few weeks later where she pulls the Draken beam on Hildy and the kids, and, the story continues from there. That was, the whole build-up was the part that Visser 1 had left out. Visser 1 wakes up on a table in the Yerk pool. It resembles a hospital room. It's not. They're still in the Yerk pool. And we cut to them going back to the whole trial room with the Visser 1, Visser 3, and the council hologram thing. And Garroff's like, all right, Visser 1, continue your story. And Visser 1's like, wait, you want me to continue? Are we not done here? And Garroff's like, well, make no mistake, we're done. We have a verdict. We just want to hear what happened to Allison, Hildy, and the kids.
I mean, same.
The kids.
Yeah, I know, right? What if they had just left it off? How terrible would that have been?
Yeah.
It would have been like the end of the Andalite Chronicles.
No.
Anyways, so Visser 1 continues her story. She's like, well, after the whole Draken Beam thing, I was left, with Lore as my only host, and as soon as I was free, I went looking for them and the children, and after a few days, their name popped up in a search because the kids got sick. So Hildy, Essam, and Allison had taken them to a doctor. The doctor said, these kids have to go to the hospital. They have a resistant virus. We have to take care of this now. So Visser 1 heads over to the hospital as soon as she could, and the first thing she sees is Hildy in the hallway. And Visser 1 knows that Essam's grasp on this whole situation is very tenuous because Essam has not fed in 3 days. So he's not doing well. And they meet in this hallway and end up having some sort of a scuffle. But Visser 1 had a weapon and so was able to overtake Hildy very quickly. And Hildy's like arguing and threatening, but mid-threat, his body just was like a marionette where all the strings were cut. He just collapsed to the floor. And Essam started crawling out of his ear. As we know, like when Yeerks die in a body, they start crawling out of the ear just instinctively. But Visser 1 had no patience for this. She grabbed the body coming out of his ear and pulled, snapping parts of the Yeerk off that were still attached to Hildy's brain. I know.
Yeah.
Ugh, so harsh.
It was so violent. She shoved Essam's body in her pocket and took a second to think, like, so weird that we're so tiny we can fit in a pocket. But parts of Essam's body are still attached to Hildy's brain. So there's neurons still firing through those pieces of Yeerk that are left. So Hildy kind of went into like a weird, like, knocked out state and then came to a completely different person. Like, just like screws loose, like trying to attack Lore, trying to kill him with his bare hands and strangle him and screaming about aliens and shit. Like no control over like what he was saying and not saying. Some nurses and doctors found them eventually and broke them apart. And since Hildy was going on about aliens and war, they're like, this dude's insane. And so they just moved him into a mental ward. Allison got wind of this, of course, the whole scuffle, and ran. Visser 1 knew that she would come back, so she just waited and laid a trap. And sure enough, Allison tried to sneak back in, and she had like dressed up as a doctor. She had a wig, colored contacts, but Visser 1 saw right through it. And Visser 1 grabbed her and killed her. That's all they say, unceremoniously.
So sad.
I have a question.
Yeah.
When Jake had his Yeerk and it came out of his ear to die, it like dissolved, or you know, like all evidence of its body was gone.
Yeah.
I'm assuming they invented that after the invasion of Earth was more concrete, because otherwise I feel like Essam in his death would have just like dissolved out of Hildy's ear.
Oh.
Right?
I mean, his body might have dissolved in her pocket.
Yeah, I just wonder if
A part of it was still
like it's yeah, like if the death itself is what causes them to dissolve, or if like somehow in continuing to be attached to the brain that part of his body was still alive. I don't know.
I haven't read Jake's book in a while, so I didn't remember what happened to a Yeerk when they died. I mean, besides them crawling out of the ear, like the actual body.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that would make sense that like they hadn't thought of it at this point, but at some point they add that genetic anomaly into their bodies so that there's no evidence left behind.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's really interesting to think about.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
Crazy.
I don't know.
Just crazy.
That's crazy. Yurts.
Yerps.
Yerks. Yeah, so Allison is dead. Eventually, since nobody returned for the children, they were considered abandoned and given up for adoption. And then Visser 1 just went on and built up the sharing. And then she wrote, like, as Lore David Altman, wrote all of these platitudes and tomes and prophecies, and then she killed him because a dead leader is revered forever. And then she took Ava as a host and ran the sharing from behind the scenes, and here we are. They played the part of Ava and then faked Ava's death.
What a journey.
What a crazy journey. Just went nuts at the end there and just kept killing and killing and killing.
Mm-hmm.
So the council pauses for a while, reconvenes in their chambers, we assume, and they're gone for a really long time. In fact, they mentioned, like, they said they had a verdict, but we're not so sure they actually did. And when they come back, there's only 11 of them. So they're like, whoa, this is weird. Both Visser 3 and Visser 1 are sentenced to death by Kandrona starvation. And they both kind of, like, hang their heads like, fuck.
Yeah.
And then both of the sentences are suspended. They're like, Visser 3, basically we have no one in line to take over the invasion of Earth, but if you don't deliver the Earth to us, we will kill you. And the only way to make this suspension permanent is by doing what we asked of you. And Visser 3 is like, fantastic, I will destroy the whole Earth, it'll be fantastic. And they're like, no. Dude, you can't do that. The Andalite forces have amassed an entire army. They're surrounding their planet, and they're aware that we're invading Earth at this point because they've gotten transmissions from here. They know of this. They also know we're invading a planet called Antari, and they're deciding which one of those to go to. We don't know where they're going right now, but you starting a war will draw them here, and we do not want that shit right now, unless you have secret ships enough to fight this whole Andalite invasion. If you have that, speak now. And Visser 3 is like, oh, no. No. He doesn't have that. And they're like, okay, great. You shut up and go sit in your corner, Visser 3. They're like, Visser 1, you're going to Antari. You're going to fucking go there, and you're going to set up that planet to be able to defeat the Andalite forces. We have a much better foothold there. There's a bunch of moons and debris and shit that we can put cannons on. Cannons are less expensive than ships, so that is what we're going to do. And Ava actually screams no, and it comes out of Visser 1's mouth. Like, she lost control for a second. And Garoff just gives her this look like she had burped in a restaurant or something like that. Like, he was just disgusted.
That was amazing.
How
I think.
Embarrassing.
Yeah, embarrassing, but also amazing for Ava.
I loved that so much.
Yeah.
Oh. Somebody save her, please.
Right? Ugh.
Well, not right now. So Visser 1 tries to take a deep breath and see the opportunity in the situation, but her thoughts stray back to her daughter, Madra, who is named Madra after the Yerk moon. I think she likes her daughter more than her son. That's what I'm really getting from this.
Rude.
She says, Visser 3 has one of my children, but there's still hope for my daughter. And so she's like, can I save her? Can I get her out of Earth now and away from Visser 3? And then she goes, no, now is not the time, focused on Antari and that whole deal. So then Visser 1 changes her tact, and she goes, you almost had me there, Visser 3. And he's like, I did have you. It was the Andalite bandits' attack that saved your ass. And she goes, about that, since we're past all this unpleasantness, I should tell you. And Visser 3 is like, tell me what? And Visser 1's like, nothing. Never mind. It's not important. And that's how we end this book.
Oh my god.
Amazing.
Oh my god.
One last dig at Visser 3.
Yeah.
Oh, stick and carroting him.
One last, hint that something is not right and you're missing it.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's a big neon sign, Visser 3. You keep missing it.
So are they gonna, heal Eva's injuries, or what's going on here?
Well,
I think at this point they would.
Yeah. Now that they want her to,
It's
lead up a mission.
Yeah, because it's why would she continue to use that body as a host then?
Why not? Just for funsies.
And now she's used to it.
She still loves humans in a way.
Yeah.
She does. She finds them disposable, but also she loves them.
Yeah. There's a bajillion of them. It's fine. They can do whatever.
Yeah.
No one cares.
I mean, Ava is extremely competent and amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very clear how she became Visser 1.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's so intelligent. It hurts my heart that the council, they've got to know how much more intelligent she is.
Yeah.
And I don't want her to be in power, but
No.
she deserves it.
Side note, also Ava herself, as in Marco's mom, is also very intelligent, where she's just don't say these things. Clearly they're setting you up for a trap. By the way, Visser 1 or Visser 3 probably has your kids. Don't give them any, it's clear to see where Marco gets it from.
Yeah, she's so much like Marco.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they call it out in this book that Marco gets his ability to see from point A to point B from her. She has that ability too.
I just want them to be together.
Me too.
I hate this.
It's tragic.
How do you guys feel now about Nora and that whole marriage scenario?
Nora did nothing wrong. But also...
No, she didn't.
Well,
yeah.
She didn't train her dog, so that's a strike against
all right,
her,
that's fair.
Also, she teaches math, and I hate that.
Okay, yeah, I guess I should say in relationship to Peter. Is that Marco's dad's name?
Yeah, I think so. I just
Okay.
couldn't remember it.
Maurice.
This entire book. Maurice.
Yeah, in her relationship
sad
to
dad.
Peter, she did nothing wrong. But
Yeah.
yeah, teaching
In her
math-
personal life,
Yeah.
she did many things wrong. Wait, no, sorry. Her professional life. I don't know why I thought her personal life would be math and her professional life is marrying Marco's dad. That's fucked up.
That's all she is as a person. Those are her
She's a
only
shitty dog.
characteristics. She's a
Yeah.
shitty dog. Oh, God.
It is very rough though, and also, I do not envy Marco being in that position. I'm just like, well, I guess my dad should be happy, but also I know my mom is alive and fighting
Yeah.
every step of the way.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. I really felt though like his mom did it has to be somewhat of a relief to Marco to have your mom say like, no, I'm basically dead. I'm dead to him. There's very little chance I'll even survive this. So it's fine. I'm glad he moved on. I'm glad he found somebody. Like that has to like
Yeah.
she knows now, and that has to be a comfort to Marco.
That's true. I mean, especially also considering where his dad was at the beginning of the story, where
Yeah.
just a shell of a man. Yeah.
Saddest
Yeah.
dad.
The saddest dad, eating bread and drinking milk, and that was it.
Except not because Marco dropped the groceries.
That's right. Marco dropped the groceries, so he didn't even get those.
Oh no. Don't bring me back to those dark times. Trying to think. What else?
I very much enjoyed this book.
I love this book. It's so detailed and so like you guys were saying at the very beginning, we learned so much about the Yeerk Empire and like how it's built and all the internal workings of it, and even the Yeerk pool. We get like some views of it that we haven't before. Like just things like, oh yeah, there's meat trucks that are delivered there, and this is how this happens, and this is like
Yeah.
it's just a really cool look into that whole side of things. And then like I think the reason I love this book though, like when I think back on it, I don't think about a lot of the minutia of the trial. I think more about when Ava was first, or not when Visser 1 was first taken over and like going through all those experiences and falling in love as a human and having children. Mm-hmm. And that's so intense. Like that's such a great story.
Seriously.
Ugh.
Especially, I mean, again, just in contrast to Yeerks. Yeerks are about bureaucracy and backstabbing and nothing else.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not
Yeah.
nothing else, but those are their two primary modes of being.
One thing I liked about an aspect of the council is that they mentioned that the Emperor is one of the 13, but nobody knows who it is.
Yes. Which...
Is that based off of a real life scenario, I wonder?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know.
That's what they did. I was going to say that's what they did with Queen Amidala and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, that's immediately what I thought of. She had like 6 or 7 decoys with her.
Right.
Right.
Or her decoy was the princess and her handmaidens were bodyguards?
Yes.
Question mark? I don't
Yeah,
know.
but they question that because they question at one point, they're like, is Garroth the Emperor? And he's pretending to be the mouthpiece, but he's actually the one running everything.
Yeah.
Right, we never get like actual confirmation for that. It's just still a mystery, which I also like as insight to Yeerks about like they can't also know who the Emperor is because then he probably would be assassinated because again, Yeerks and bureaucracy and backstabbing.
Yep. And they're like, you have to kill all 13 of them.
But like how does the Emperor get to be in the position of power, and do the other council members know who it is?
Yes. The other
yes.
council members know.
Yeah, so the
Okay.
13 knows. Of the 13, they all know who the Emperor is, but nobody else does. How they get to that position, I assume, involves murder. Lots of it.
Yeah.
Oh, I was just going to say, I don't think they've ever had a turnover since establishing the Yeerk Empire. Like, I don't
that's a
think
good
they've had to
point.
deal with, like, getting somebody new there.
But
That's a
what
good
if
point.
one of the 2 that were killed at the end of the book, what if one of those was the Emperor, and now there's a new Emperor?
Were they killed, though, or did they just leave?
I
I
don't
assume
know.
they were killed.
I assume they were
but
killed.
I don't actually
I
know.
assumed they were killed as well. But They also could have just been like, I don't want to be here to see what these guys are going to do.
I'm
so
walking out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I refuse to participate in this farce any longer.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm showing my displeasure and I'm leaving.
Bye.
Intense. I didn't even mention that detail. Like, there's so many, like, throwaway things like that where it's, like, 2 lines and you learn all of this shit, like, about the council. But, like, because it's not pertaining to the actual thing we're talking about right now and I can't just read the book for you line by line, like, we miss it.
Yeah, there's a lot of that in there. I think that is why I love, these books so much. You get, like, so much more insight into, like, the Yeerks, the Andalites, the hork-bajir, etc., etc.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's so easy to just cover, like, the protagonist's point of view, but the fact that the other races and the other, major players are fleshed out is just like, oh, it's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and, like, the one thing we kept talking about in the Hork-Bajir Chronicles, too, because it's the split perspective between Aldrea, Esplin, and Dak, it was like you get... like, you're rooting for the Yeerks at one point. And in this book, too, I found myself rooting for Visser 1 at some points.
Right.
And I'm like, I gotta stop doing that.
Same.
She's terrible, though.
It's like, she's terrible, but also a very compelling character. So,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Applegate knows how to manipulate my feels.
Yeah.
She's done it again.
Done it
And
again.
especially, like, I think this is the first book we're coming into it. We have done the full run from a series of ghostwriters. Like, she hasn't contributed in the last 5 books. And I don't want to say, like, I feel like I'm getting complacent because the ghostwriters are not bad. But her style of writing is so amazing that, like,
Yeah.
you're like, okay, this is good, this is good, this is good. And then you get to her book and you're like, holy shit, I fucking love this.
Yeah, and they're like, oh, yes, now I remember why I love Animorphs.
Yeah.
There's one line in here, and I think it was at the very beginning of the book when Ava is getting ready to go out to the boat, where she mentions, I made a smile. And it's like, in those 4 words, like, there's no mention that Ava's the controller. We know it at this point because, like, of just chronologically how time works. But those 4 fucking words are just like, oh, juicy and delicious.
It's so good.
Oh.
And then in that same scene, how she went to check in on her son Marco and she saw him there, and, like, seeing Visser 1 thinking, like, he's so soft and he's so weak, and then just Ava, like, just railing against her, like, let me hold him one more time before I go. Like, and then just the no, we're out. Like, that was so intense.
Yeah, and so interesting, because at that point, we don't know that Visser 1 is a mother herself.
Yeah.
So the fact that
true.
she was so cold and just being like, no, absolutely not, was just like, oh, God.
Mm-hmm. And that was such a big reveal, too. Like, these are my children, and I love them.
Yeah, not that she just had kids. That she had kids and she still felt a very strong connection to them.
Yeah.
So much so that she would, like, change the entire, like, course of a war for them.
Right. And change the entire plan. And will continue to keep trying to change the plan to protect them.
Yeah. It kind of... So, Axe mentioned that when Yeerks reproduce, they die. Mm-hmm. It makes me wonder, like, how a Yeerk would feel, like, if they didn't die and if they did know their offspring. It makes me wonder if they would have any sort of instinct, any sort of maternal, paternal, whatever instinct for their children, or if they would just be like, oh, just another number, bye.
You know? I mean, I guess not.
Like, instinctually, I want to say no, but we've seen so many examples of Yeerks that have sympathy and, like, that turn, like,
Yeah.
the Yeerk who fell in love, like, that we were just talking about in Axe's, one of his early books, like, those 2 that fell in love.
Right.
You know, this whole scenario, I think they would eventually become good parents.
Yeah.
Or maybe not good parents, but sympathetic parents.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, you have, obviously, the contrast between Visser 1 and SM for someone who's, like, way more ambitious and bloodthirsty, but still has this whole, like, duality of being a mom and also being a mass murderer. And SM, who, like, SM from Jump was, like, already a empathetic person
Yeah.
or Yerk.
Yeah. Like, the Yerks come in a wide range of personalities.
Yeah.
You could be
Yeah.
a mom and a mass murderer.
Yeah.
Do it all.
You can have it all, ladies.
The modern working woman.
Woof.
How, like, not to completely, like, change the subject, but how do we all feel about the sharing, instead of just it being implied that it's a cult, now saying, like, no, we directly are a cult. We took from cults. We are that.
I mean, yeah, no, it feels like... Yes, like, oh, I think I called this, and oh yes, I was right. Like,
Yeah.
okay, nice to get confirmation.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, it always felt pretty culty to me, but just the getting into the nuances of how they made it was really, really interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was her behind the whole thing.
Yeah, that I don't think I knew either.
Yeah,
But-
I thought it was like a collective of several Yerk minds that came up with it.
Same.
But
Then again, that makes sense how she became Visser 1. Like, if you start the sharing, like, I can see why you would rocket up to the head of the ranks.
yeah.
Yeah. I also liked that not only did she start the sharing and, like, hatch that whole plan on her own, but when she was thinking about, like, going back to the Council of 13, she's like, I'm not going to do it until, 1, I'm sure I have a class 5 species, 2, I have a way that we're going to take over and control all of them, and 3, I wrap it all up in a pretty bow for them, and that's how I'm becoming Visser 1. And that's why Visser 3 will never fucking get there.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
right? She's like, I'm not just gonna jump into this. I need a 5-step plan with all contingencies laid out. And Visser 3's just like, I don't know, just blow them all up. It's fine.
It's like, I don't know, they're probably Andalite Bandalites in this here box, and then, like, slaps it, and he's like, it's all yours, kiddos! Like,
Oh, God.
yeah, he's such a tool.
He's
Just such a tool.
She gave you Earth, gift wrapped, and you fucked it all up.
You did.
Yeah. Oh my god, that was the other great thing, is how many times they mentioned, like, you have done nothing with Earth. You were in the same position as when you got here. How are you fucking this up so badly?
God.
Like,
It's like when the most undeserving person at work gets promoted and then they just like sit around and they suck at their job and you're like, why you?
because they asked for it. They showed initiative.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
They were completely unqualified.
But they had that one brilliant idea in that one presentation like 3 years
Yeah.
ago.
Yep.
Oh my god.
Ugh.
They had potential and then never lived up to it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And this is a 3 story.
again, like, I know we've already stressed this, but he did research the Andalites so intensely. What the fuck happened?
That's a great question and a great point. Like, okay, so he is capable, but he got complacent? I don't know. He's just, no, I figured it out.
Yeah. Or maybe he, because obviously he was like fascinated with the Andalites, like genuinely like, oh my god, I need to learn more about this race. And maybe he just didn't care as much about the humans on like a personal level, so he was just kind of like, fuck it, we'll figure it out. Someone else did all the heavy lifting for me. I don't need to continue down this road.
Yeah, that's a good one. He's just like personally not interested in humans. Just like, this is just a
Yeah.
job.
Yeah.
He's not passionate about his
I've already
work.
got my host buddy. That's true, because he was always just obsessed with, like, I want to get in that body. Like, I want
Yeah.
to have that body. And now that he has it,
Give me
he's
that
kind of like,
body.
well, I'm good.
He peaked too soon.
Yeah. Yeah, he got what he wanted, and now he's, yeah, like you said, he's complacent.
Yeah.
I can morph into anything. I don't know what that voice was, I'm so sorry.
That was
Little bit Owen
Flapjack.
Wilson
That
or
was 100% Flapjack.
I cannot cuss. Anyway.
Uh,
I wonder why Cassie turned into a polar bear instead of a wolf.
I don't
maybe
know.
they just needed more firepower? than
Yeah.
I mean, I guess.
And since Rachel was a hork-bajir, and they were like, well, need another big bear morph. Cassie.
Yeah, that could be.
But Cassie could have been a hork-bajir.
That's true. She does have that morph,
She-
right? They all do.
Yeah.
Yeah, they all do now. I mean, she could have been, but like I think that they are really liking at this point in the series playing with the idea that like Rachel and Tobias are a team and they do this thing, and you know, Cassie and Jake are doing this thing, and like Marco's
also
kind
dating.
of his own. Yeah,
Yeah.
They're getting all coupley up in here.
yeah.
Getting all
Yeah,
Stranger
pretty
Things
much.
3 up in here.
Stranger Things 3. I haven't seen the new season. I don't get this joke.
Okay.
Man, this book though. I'm just gonna spew my love for this book for a moment.
It's great.
'Cause
And you should.
I really, yeah. It's fantastic. Like, I think genuinely my favorite of all the Chronicles and all of the Megamorph series. Like, this is my favorite book. It's just the perfect blend of, we find out so much about the Yeerks, and we find out so much about the internal workings of the council. We find out more about Visser 1, which is interesting. And then wrapped up in all of that, which is great for the Animorph series in and of itself, we get this amazing, like, human story of falling in love and having children and falling out of love, and in a way that's completely not overtly stated. We are seeing like polyamory, and we're seeing like more like broken family stuff, and we see adoption, which is like never brought up as like any sort of negative thing. Like, there's just a whole bunch of stuff in here that's really awesome to take away from it. And then also then we just find out a straight serial killer is in the midst of everybody, and she's giving the orders.
Yes.
There's so much good, compelling shit, and any one of these points would make an amazing book, but this is all in one book.
All in one book in 170 pages with really big font. So
Yeah, like size 14 font. Maybe 12.
It's just like, so I feel like on the internet, particularly on specific social media websites, there's like a lot of people that are starting to get really up in arms about like problematic quote unquote characters. Like, if they do anything even remotely bad, they're bad, and if you like them, you're also bad. And then you just read Animorphs and you're like, it's not that easy, look at this. I just want to hand these books to them and be like, no, it's multifaceted, you can, God, just look at a book.
Yeah, Animorphs is like such a good example of like, yeah, even your favorite character does some morally gray, heinous shit. Like, sometimes not even morally gray, sometimes just plain old bad.
Yeah.
Even while trying to do good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And even if they won't do it at first, the more stress that's put on them and the more shit that they have to go through, that breaks them down mentally. And like, not that it's justified and you're like, oh, it's okay because they're mentally hurt, but it also deals with like, how much can you take before the line of what you're willing to do shifts? Kaycie had a point.
A point that doesn't need to be brought up. I was just gonna say there was like a lot of sex in this book. And drugs.
You know, you're right. This is the most adult, I guess, of the books.
Yeah.
I was gonna say it's all off screen. But
yeah, it's all completely just implied.
Yeah.
But we get in at the tail end of them giving birth, which is like a whole other intense scenario with vaginas exposed.
Okay.
Like, this would have been the age where we all saw the video in health class.
Yep.
Oh.
So,
side note, I just saw on the internet, like literally a couple hours ago, this video of a couple in the backseat of an Uber where the woman was giving birth as the Uber driver was trying to talk her through it. And I'm just like,
oh my God.
All right. Baby was fine. She was fine. The Uber driver was just kind of like, oh, just don't make a mess on the seat. But, you know, he was just basically being a doula for the woman as she was
driving?
While driving. Her husband or boyfriend or whomever, male partner, was there, like, helping her through it. But also, most of the coaching was coming from the actual Uber driver.
Holy crap.
did they give him 5 stars?
Yeah. You better have gotten 5 stars.
Yeah, seriously. Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
That is crazy.
Right?
Wait, so who was filming this?
Oh, so we
That's
had
what I
a dash cam, right? So
Oh, okay.
they blurred out, everything.
The faces,
But I
yeah.
guess he told the couple afterwards, he's like, hey, and I'm like filming all this. Do you want the video? And they were like, yeah. And he was like, you gotta pay me for it. I think he was joking, but maybe.
That is crazy.
They were
Oh my
already paying him for the Uber.
Yeah.
Wow.
So anyway, slight tangent, but
No, that's great. Oh man.
No, that's seriously amazing.
Wow.
yeah.
That's a story to tell all your friends.
Right?
You were born in the back of an Uber.
You were born in the back of an Uber. We have actual video.
Yeah. Oh man.
Invite the family over to watch the dash cam of the kid being born. Oh my god.
Oh boy.
Oh.
Do they normally let you film when you're giving birth?
I don't know.
I think so. If you want to, you're allowed to.
Yeah, I guess if you want to. I feel like I've seen enough TV and or movies where there's like expectant parent like camera aimed right at the birth canal that I'm like, that
Yeah.
probably
Right.
happens, right?
Yes.
Movie and TV would never lie to me.
They would never lie to you. Man. Gross.
Yeah, anytime I see something on like Twitter or Facebook and it's like, I don't know, something wholesome and great, and then I see the video and I'm like, I hope this is true.
Yeah.
Because it could very well not be true.
Yep.
Yeah. I have an article saved just like that about a dolphin that adopted a pilot whale baby and raised it as her own.
Aww.
I want to
And now
believe
it's
that's
like-
true.
I think it's true because the reason they were studying it was that it had learned some dolphin whistles and clicks so that it could communicate with them.
That's-
and it's outside of its normal.
Adorable, and I love that.
Yeah.
But was it okay? Because there was that lion that adopted the antelope baby, and
Oh, yeah, that
Well,
didn't
pilot
okay.
whales eat
That didn't work out.
bottlenose dolphins, so
I mean, yeah, more similar like species there, but yeah.
Yeah.
it's more like in The Lion King where Timon and Pumbaa adopted Simba.
Oh my god. Oh, I just thought about the CGI Lion King now.
No, it's fine. Don't worry about that. Just think about Simba and
Billy
his two
Eichner
dads.
is a goddamn treasure.
Billy Eichner is a treasure.
Okay,
Oh my
that's
God.
true. And also, I haven't seen the live-action Lion King, but to be fair, I've seen none of the live-action Disney movies, so just...
Are you planning to keep it that way?
I don't have any desire to see the live-action ones, because I have the originals. I don't know.
Yeah.
And it's like 90% a match for the originals anyways.
Yeah.
It really is.
If they were doing something,
No
I
reason
think,
to see it.
new or different, then maybe I might be more inclined. But it's like, it's a shot-for-shot remake.
Mulan's gonna be different. They're gonna stick closer to the original story.
That's
and
true.
They're
I
gonna
might-
fix a lot of the cultural inaccuracies,
Yeah.
apparently.
I might see Mulan for that reason.
I am hella gonna go see Mulan because I fucking love Mulan.
Yes.
All versions of her.
Yeah, she's pretty awesome.
She's pretty awesome. I mean, I think you guys are really getting my type of character. Mulan.
Mulan,
Badass
Rachel,
ladies forever.
sense and
Yeah.
a theme.
Yeah. If they like weapons and fighting, I'm pretty much into it.
It feels weird to not rate characters.
Do you want to just go ahead and rate them from what we saw? We have
I
the
don't
time.
know.
I
We have the
mean,
time. We can do it.
Oh
do you
my God.
only rate our main characters? There's no like rating for like, I don't know, I give SM a 5, but clearly that's probably different, right?
We've mostly done the main characters. If there's like a big enough side character in it, like occasionally we've rated Eric. Obviously we rated David when we went through the David books.
Right. Yes.
They were
David
all
was
very
nothing.
negative.
God, I hate
like-
David so much.
We could do the kids, and then we could do Visser 1 and Visser 3 at least.
Ooh.
Maybe Ava.
Okay.
You want to do that?
I'm feeling that.
All right. All right. Let's start with the kids just to like get into the swing of things. What's up with Jake? What do we feel about Jake?
It's just hard because, like, except for Marco, they all had, like, one line each.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
okay, Jake did for a brief second fool Ava into, or not Ava, Visser 1 into thinking that he was an Andalite, so
That's
that was
cool.
pretty fun.
That was awesome.
Just, yeah.
He can have a 4 from me. How about that?
Or like,
It's cool.
yeah, or like a 4.5. I don't know. You're right. They were in it for so few.
I know.
Yeah, they really were.
Well, Marco
this
definitely.
is just our warm up.
Yeah. It's like everybody gets a 4 for being there and be beautiful children. Marco gets a 5 because he did.
Yes.
He had some
Yeah.
extra scenes. Axe gets a
I
5
agree.
because I love him personally.
I feel like that's fine.
Well, if that's how we're playing it, I give Rachel a 5 too.
Actually, that I give Cassie a 5 because she did try to comfort Marco in Bear Morph.
And she took
She
a
did.
bullet.
She patted him. Yeah, and she took a bullet like a champ.
Yes.
I like how she patted him on the shoulder. A polar bear patted a little boy on the
Yes.
shoulder. And he buckled to the ground because Jesus.
I loved Rachel's casual indifference of like, kill her now, kill her later, fuck it.
Whatever.
I like that she and
Whatever.
Tobias were in the same morph because they're dating.
So we've now talked ourselves into giving almost all of them 5s.
'Cause they're all
5s
good
across the
kids.
board.
Yeah.
All right, perfect. So I guess we'll move on to Visser 3. How do we feel about Visser 3?
Oh my god.
Visser 3. My god. Just,
He's such a dick, but he's so entertaining sometimes.
that's exactly it.
Yeah.
Let's see. 1 for planning. 4 for just entertaining. Maybe
Yes.
4.5 for being entertained. No, 4 for entertaining. He doesn't get a
Is
5.
that a -1 for planning or a +1 for planning?
Oh, can you know negatives, huh? -1 then.
I mean, the bringing in the guy.
Okay, that's fair.
Hildy and the
Hildy.
child. Bringing in
Yeah.
the
Okay, that's a good point. Yeah, he did bring in star witnesses. So
yes. But he fucked
He was
up
the
that.
only one that brought witnesses to the trial.
But he fucked up that stage show real bad.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Meanwhile, Visser One's like, we could bring witnesses. No one told me.
Yeah. And here we are, 35 books in, plus some Megamorphs and some Chronicles.
Yeah.
And we have officially found out Visser 3 has done nothing for the invasion in 30 to 40 books.
that's kind of
So-
amazing.
It's just a real bad job.
He
That's
like
a horrible job.
it's like he killed Elfangor and that's about it.
Yeah, that was his crowning moment.
It was, and he was like, I ate him. I ate him in my mouth. I was there.
I ate him in
Like,
my face.
That was me. I
That's what
did
he
that.
pointed out to the council. Like, I ate him. I don't know if that's a plus or a minus, but add that into the score, I guess.
Yeah. What is that? Like averaging to like a 2.5?
Yeah, I think so.
Again, I don't
Yeah.
know math.
It's fine. Neither do we.
Let's cheat and give him a 2 since we've been going higher today. Let's take him down a notch, and we'll say that's good math.
Yes, I like that. Round down.
Okay. Round down because we keep thinking like 20 years is 10 years. We've been really generous, and we really need to stop that. So 2.
Yes. 2 seems
perfect.
correct.
I wish 20 years was 10 years. I'd be 20 again.
Yeah.
I don't know. 20 like was okay. It wasn't great. I
I
don't know.
We were in art school. Holy shit! Oh! We were in art
We were
school
just
like 10 years
leaving
ago.
art school, weren't we?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh no, we graduated 2011. 20 was fucking amazing. What am I saying?
Oh!
Oh, I thought I was out of school already. No, okay, you're right.
Dear
Take
God.
10 years off.
Oh my god.
actually, let's see. 10 years for me would be 23. I was in a real weird state at 23. Didn't really know what I was doing. It was no.
That
Oh,
sounds
I-
familiar.
I still don't know what I'm doing, so.
Oh.
Oh, man.
Alright, so
Okay, so
2
2 for him, anyways, is what we decided.
God.
What about Visser 1?
Holy shit. I don't even know.
Man, I don't know how to rate her because she is highly confident, which makes me want to give her a 5, but she's also a mass murderer, which is like not something I want to encourage. But I don't. she's like so compelling and this is the only book we see from her perspective, but in all of it, she's just like, yep, I can totally see why you became Visser 1. You are highly confident, you think things through, you have plans for your plans. I get it.
And she, like, that whole point where she turns makes me so sympathetic to her. Like,
yep.
Yeah.
Like, Eva was us in the book. Eva was just saying what the reader was thinking. Like, I'm sorry, I have sympathy for you. I understand you're a mother. We can relate on this. And then all of a sudden she's like, how the fuck did I ever like you? You're a dick.
Exactly. You're just like, Allison Kim was like everything that the other hosts were not. She was smart. She was intelligent. We really formed like, not really a friendship, but an understanding. Is like, and then I killed her. I'm like, okay, well, shit. All right.
After they agreed to co-parent.
Yeah.
Everybody betray me.
I'm fed up with this world. Man.
Sorry, I'm just laughing quietly for myself.
I'll give her a 3.
That feels fair. That feels fair.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to give my sliding scale of, like, 5 for competence.
Ooh, yeah.
2 for, I don't know, morality. Maybe a 3 for morality.
Yeah. I'm kind of like 5 for being complex and multifaceted, and -2 for being a mass murderer.
Also, a 4 for being fooled by Star Trek.
Ooh, good point.
Yeah.
All right, so not that confident.
Yeah.
No,
She's
no
still
aliens.
kind of averaging out around like a 3.5.
Yeah.
It was nice that she tried to tell Marco that Ava loved him.
That's true.
She could have just
But
been
it was
like,
a manipulation.
Oh.
Which he was like, I don't need you to tell me that.
I don't need you to.
I don't need your fucking approval.
But Ava said, tell him I love him.
Did she say tell him, or did she just say I love him?
I
think she said,
I love my boy son.
I love my sweet son, who is, I'm like, can I find that? I don't know. I have my
I'm
book.
looking too. Oh, this is where she stole his cell phone. We're here. We can find it.
that
perfect.
cell phone
Okay.
was huge.
Oh, Ava just responded to him. She just said, I know you will. I love you.
Oh, okay, never
Ava
mind.
said,
Okay.
a silent prisoner.
Well, clearly I did a self-insert there. Just trying to give her an extra point.
Listen, fair.
Yeah, fair.
We spent a whole book in her perspective. You're kind of like, there's some credit.
Yeah.
Though she did kill every host that she was in, with the exception of Ava.
She did. And usually in, like, very brutal ways as well.
Yeah.
And when she ripped her husband Yerk and human husband lover, ripped the Yerk out of his ear, made the boy husband go insane, and murdered the Yerk husband. So.
Is there, like, a non-brutal way to murder somebody, though?
In the Animorphs?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I thought we were just spitballing ways to kill people. Sorry.
That was a rhetorical question.
Thought it was just a round table of how to murder someone nicely.
Oh my god.
Disclaimer at the beginning of the episode, we are not encouraging you to become murderers.
I do not condone murder.
No.
If
Don't
you
do it.
murder, we will take points away from how much we like you.
Yes.
So,
Think about that.
yeah. As you're about to murder somebody, you just think that through.
Oh, Lord.
Extra points taken off if you murder one of us.
Yes, definitely. We do not like that.
Yes, definitely. I would slide you into the negatives for that.
Yeah. You'd go into David territory for
Oh,
that. We would
yeah.
not want that.
That's the lowest you can go.
Yeah.
God, I hate David so much.
He sucks.
David's the fucking worst. Should we rate David while we're here just because we fucking hate him so much?
Negative infinity.
Negative infinity
Yeah.
sounds correct. I reread a lot of the Animorphs books, like, later on. I did not reread the David books because I hate him so much. So,
Ooh.
yeah.
Man.
I mean-
Your hatred in him could be renewed, though.
I mean, it could.
books are so good, but yeah, oh my god, he's the worst.
Yeah, no, the books are very good, but also, gosh, I hate them.
What is your top 5 favorite books?
Oh,
That's
heck.
probably a really complicated question.
That is a very complicated question. Let's see. Oh, man. So, a lot of my favorite books are the ones that are just, like, straight up wacky. So, like, the one where they go to not Area 51.
Oh, yes. The horse book.
Yes, the horse book.
14.
Yes, 14.
The first book I ever read.
Yeah, that's Alex's first
Nah,
Animorphs book.
that's a good one to start with, because
You're
just like-
not 3 or Megamorphs 1.
you're just like, what the hell is going on? So that one's good. Ooh, the one where they discover Axe for the first time.
Yay!
'Cause I love that
Yeah.
one. Honestly, Megamorphs 1, just because of nostalgia reasons, since that was the first one that I read. I spent a really long time, like, really liking the dinosaurs ones. I usually like the Megamorphs one just because, like, everyone is together, so I get to read from everyone's point of view.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Let me think. What are some of the other ones? I want to say there was whatever the first book that Jake and Cassie kissed in, because I was a big old shipper.
That was the one where they're on the planet of the Fran Drescher aliens.
Yeah.
20
Yes,
the Howlers one.
something.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was such a
And
good book.
I was trying to think of it. I actually just also Visser. Like, Visser is one of the ones that I read way after I had, like, grown up and didn't read Animorphs anymore, but honestly, amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is amazing. Yeah, this was one of the ones that I read when I did my reread of everything in college for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
It's so good.
Wait,
It's
was
been a
that
favorite ever since.
was that 5? I don't know.
Yeah, that's pretty close.
I think so, yeah. It was Jake and Cassie Howler book.
Yep.
14, it was Discovering X for the first time, Visser.
And
Oh,
Megamorphs.
4?
If
And
that's
Megamorphs, yeah, for
Megamorphs.
nostalgia purposes.
And then
Sweet.
honorable mention to Tobias. This is his book. Wait, what number is that? I'm trying to think when he finds out his origins.
Oh.
Ooh, that's like
oh.
early 20s, but that's a good one too.
Yeah.
Hang on, there's a formula for this. It's like 3, 13, 23? Yeah. So it must be
Yeah.
23. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So
a good book.
so also that one.
Oh.
Man.
Are you going to read the rest of the books?
So here's the thing. I haven't read the rest of the books, but I've read, like, the full summaries of the rest of the books, / I've heard about them. So no, but maybe.
Okay.
That's fair.
Uh,
That's fair.
Yeah, it's like, I probably eventually will. Like, I've read the last book, which we won't get into that now. But,
yeah.
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 Oh. I'm filled with dread.
Get ready!
Yeah, you should be filled with dread.
I want to.
But yeah, I have not, like, read the last books, but I know what happens in them.
They're worth the read. I would say, like, if you don't want to go through all the ghostwritten books, because I can only hold so many people hostage and force them to read all of Animorphs. The answer is 1. I can hold 1 person hostage. But I would recommend reading, like, the final, like, 4 or 5 book arc. It's just amazing.
The one that, like, Kay actually wrote.
Yeah, it's like she wrote out of those she fully wrote only the last 2, but like that full ending arc is really amazing. It's really good. Highly recommend.
I will probably do it, because, I mean, every few years or so, I just come back to being, like, completely obsessed with Animorphs again. Like, someone will just whisper it, and I'll hear it somewhere, like, yes, Animorphs. I'm all in. Let's talk about it.
You just, like, pop up from
Yeah.
under the table, like, hello.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. That is like how it goes. It's like you're just innocently scrolling around on Instagram and all of a sudden it's like, I will not let you take care of my dog son or my other dog son or my slightly different dog son. And you're like, oh, this is a great meme. I should reread Animorphs.
It's true.
I'm so excited for the graphic novels.
Oh my gosh. Oh, actually, speaking of Animorphs and how everything always comes back to it, I started watching The Expanse with some coworkers like on Friday.
Oh, Matt loves that show.
And first of all, it's I'm only 3 episodes in, but it's very good. But literally, the first episode happened, I was like, that's the guy who played Axe. That's the guy who played Axe in Animorphs. He's been in other things, but it's the guy who played Axe in the Animorphs TV show is on The Expanse.
Oh my god, wait, what's his name? I'm gonna look him up real quick.
Shed? Or do you mean the actor? Because I don't remember it. But the character's name is Shed.
Okay, I'm looking this up too.
Shed.
Similar story. One of the reasons I got into comic books, and particularly to this day, the reason that X-Men is my jam was because Iceman. He took me in there.
Is that him really?
Yep.
Holy. Okay, yeah, I see it now. Okay, wow.
Wait, which one is it?
Huh?
Remind me the name again. Remind me the name on
Just
The Expanse.
Google Shed. S-H-A-D.
Shed, The Expanse.
Oh my god, he looks so different.
Oh my god, it is. But he looks the same though.
Yeah, that's what I was
They
like.
look the same.
Because again, I was watching it with coworkers and I just yelled out really loud, "That's the guy from Animorphs!" And everyone looked at me like, what?
That's amazing. I'm gonna tell Matt, because Matt loves The Expanse. I'm gonna be like, it's got Animorphs in it!
Yeah.
Now, every time he's watching it, you gotta walk through the room going, Cinnamon Bunza!
Cinnamon buns! She wants my body!
My body!
Which again, that guy's been in other things, but
No.
my lizard
He'll always
brain,
be axed.
was just like, it's Axe!
One time that I was watching How I Met Your Mother, and I was literally like mid-episode watching it, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh my god, it's Rachel! And it was like, literally, she was one girlfriend that like Ted brought home for Thanksgiving or something.
Holy crap.
And I lost my fucking mind. I was like, it's Rachel! She's in How I Met Your Mother!
I would have too.
So, yeah.
Oh my god.
So these are normal things to do.
Yeah. Totally, completely normal. Absolutely fine.
I'm just so excited Axe is doing like I have no reason to feel this way about him, but I'm just like really proud that he's still doing actorly jobs.
That's exactly what I was feeling too. I was just like, hey, I didn't really like the Animorphs TV show that much, but I'm really proud of you that you're doing things.
Oh,
Yeah.
I can't wait until we review the TV show on this podcast.
I'm so excited for you guys.
It's coming up. Hey, about a year from right now when we're recording this, which is a few weeks before this goes live, will be the last episode of the main series.
Oh
that
my
we're
God.
posting.
Jesus.
It ends August 2020.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my god.
So that's when the TV show's coming up. Less than a year.
Oh, I'm scared.
Oh, this is going to be so good.
That's both so far and also not far at all into the future.
I know. We launched it 2017, so it's closer to the end now than the beginning.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that's crazy.
Yeah. Oh, man. Well, on that terrible disappointment, should we start wrapping up?
I guess so.
Sure.
Do you guys have, like, any last thoughts that you want to get out?
This book is real good. And reminds me why I like Animorphs and Kay Applegate's writing so much.
Yes.
Yeah, agree.
I wholeheartily agree. Kaycie, you got anything?
Needed more Axe.
That is fair.
Oh god, I'm joking.
I can only hope on Cinnamon Bun, our new sponsor for Cinnabon.
Oh my
You're
God.
choking on their Cinnamon Buns.
Get
Anyway,
at them, Cinnabon.
Yeah. Get at us. Come on. We have maybe tens of listeners that would be thrilled to buy your product. Oh, man. Yeah. I wholeheartedly agree that this is an amazing book. And I seriously, anybody who has not read this book and listens to this podcast, of which I know there's one of you at least, Shannon, read this book. It's fucking amazing.
Yeah,
like,
it's
it
really
truly is an amazing book.
You can read it in 4 hours, especially if you're not taking notes.
If you're not taking notes, you can read it in 4 hours. If you're taking notes, it takes 10 to 15 hours.
Oh my god.
So many notes.
Oh.
But no, it's worth the read. It's truly an amazing book. Even like outside of knowing anything about Animorphs, it's a very compelling book.
Uh-huh.
So, all right, let's get into the end of this podcast where I say send me emails, damn it, at anonymousanimorphs@gmail.com, or write me on Facebook at our main group, which is Animorphs Anonymous, or our super secret, super awesome group. That is the Andalite Bandalites, which is facebook.com/group/Animorphs Anonymous. Or you can tweet at us. I will not respond to you. It's at Animorphs Anon. Or you can go on Instagram and look at my shitty images that I work very hard on, and I appreciate if you would like them at Animorphs Anonymous.
I fucking love the last one you did with the whale and the wings.
It's so ridiculous.
It's a beautiful, beautiful image. God.
It took me that one actually took me more than my normal 5 minutes because I had to like put 3 images together instead of just 2.
Oh my God.
So,
amazing.
Yeah, I did put some extra effort into that one.
Perfect.
Which is embarrassing to say out loud now that I've done it.
Wait, I'm looking at this now. It is beautiful.
Isn't it?
Thank you.
Beautiful.
I spent 10 minutes probably on it.
God. If you want to listen to our podcast, you can find it wherever podcasts are available for free, including Spotify, Google Play, Pocket Cast, Stitcher, Podcast Republic, and anywhere else you can find a podcast. iTunes, maybe? ? Write us a review. Please.
Yeah, I read them. I haven't gotten any new ones since our last call for reviews.
That's because
but
iTunes
I do
is
read
dead.
them. And iTunes is dying.
Yeah.
Kaycie, tell me about your comic.
I have a webcomic. It's called B-Side You. You can find that at bsideyoucomic.com. It's romantic, it's cute, and I love it.
It's good. You should read it. Oh,
Speaking
yes.
of comics, Myisha, tell us about your comic.
Oh, yeah. I do have a comic. It is a fantasy comic about 3 roommates who accidentally inherit some magic weapons that are not meant for them. It's called The Substitutes, and you can read it at thesubstitutescomic.com.
Guys, please read this comic. It's one of my favorite comics of all time. It's amazing and beautiful, and frickin' go read it right now.
Well, thank you.
Okay, I will. I will go read it right now. I absolutely will.
Well,
it sounds amazing, actually. And I can't believe I haven't read it yet.
It's so good.
I seriously am going to go read it right now. I wasn't lying. That was not sarcasm.
Well, thank you. I'm going to be working on it when I'm done with this call.
Yay!
Oh, shit. We better get off the call then. I am on Superboy, the other podcast about Superboy called Cadmus to Crisis. If you like extremely dirty conversations and a lot of nonsensical things. So you can listen to that with our friend Drew that did Megmorphs with us. So
Excellent.
On that note, let us pretend that we are exiled to the Antari planet and hang up the phone.
Okay. Myisha, thank you so much for joining us. It was so much fun.
Seriously, thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you guys for having me. This was awesome.
Yay!
We are happy to have you. You have no idea. It was so awesome. Let's get out of here.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.